Now we have here with us in the studio Ukrainian Ambassador to Indonesia, His Excellency Vasyl Hamianin. Sir, His Excellency Vasyl.
Good afternoon.
How are you doing? Good afternoon. Thank you very much for coming to our studio.
Thank you for inviting.
Yeah, thank you.
Great to be here, first time.
It's great to have you here. And we're also very delighted that you're here. I heard that you've been in Indonesia for about 5 months, is that right?
Yeah, sort of. I arrived like late October last year, so I'm pretty new here.
Would you like to prefer we interview you in past Indonesia?
I heard you have excellent Indonesian so far.
No, not yet. But
Right.
thank you so much. Masih belajar.
Masih
Masih
belajar.
belajar.
We'd like to ask the permission
belum
from... Okay, we'd like to ask the permission from our viewers to take off our masks.
Oh, yes, that's
We
right.
all have been
Great,
vaccinated and we've got the booster shot.
That's right.
Actually, so, you know, we know that the number of casualties, death casualties in Ukraine now has reached more than 3,500. But the UN has estimated that it is thousands more than the actual report there on the ground. But in your view and in your experience, how is the current situation in your country right now?
First of all, it would be tens of thousands, I presume, because
Tens of thousands?
Because what they confirmed, it just absolutely 100% confirmed the people who were killed or died or something in action. But the majority of these would be civilians, unfortunately, because the army that we are opposing now, it's actually representing the terrorist state, because what they do is terrorizing the civilians and massive bombings and shellings of cities, like destroying them to the ground. This is what they do. To be honest, it was unexpected. And the situation in Ukraine now is difficult to explain it in few words, but basically there are two dimensions, military and humanitarian. Military is like regular fighting between two armies, and I think that it would be right to say that the Ukrainian army is, first of all, is much more motivated, morality is much higher, and they are defending the land. The land is protecting them, the nation is helping them. So Ukrainian army proved to be much more efficient. And the humanitarian aspect is something that is really sad to talk about, because like millions of people are suffering.
Is it really hard to channel the humanitarian aid to people who need it the most at this point of time?
By humanitarian aid,
Yeah.
we receive humanitarian aid from many countries, from many channels.
So it's easy to get them?
Well, it's easy to get by Ukrainian government, right? And then if you want to deliver it to the regions in question, like to regions under occupation of Russian army, it would be a great problem. Even for the Red Cross, even for not even for the Red Cross, because they just don't give the green corridors for no one, and people cannot leave. People cannot receive anything from outside. So it's like blocking the humanitarian aid for Ukrainian civilians, and it's cruel and it's very inhuman. And that's what we see. In the bright example is Mariupol, is Azov steel plant, which is under severe bombing still now, every hour, like phosphor bombs and all this prohibited stuff that they're trying to, to destroy to the ground while having people inside.
So you mentioned Mariupol. It's that maybe you can also tell us what happened there. The Mariupol garrison has completed or finished its mission, its combat mission. Is it true? And how is the situation right now? I mean, I heard that all the soldiers and probably people there, they were hiding under the bunkers and all that. Can you tell us more on that?
We have thousands of photos and videos from these bunkers, from these cells under the plant, and it is sad because many people, children and women including, they've been hiding there for 2 months, not seeing the sun for a minute, just sitting down the ground. And till now there are like tens of thousands of people left in Mariupol still, but many of them, we don't know if they are alive or not, but many of them were still hiding in the basements of the destroyed residential houses, which is like destroyed 99%.
99%.
So, Mr. Ambassador, we've been hearing about the talks of ceasefire agreement since I think early of March, but we haven't seen it coming yet. So, what's stopping the ceasefire agreement deal?
It's very brief. Only one word: Putin.
what does he do? I mean, like to stop this ceasefire agreement?
It's very simple. He does nothing to stop fire because when people sit down and talk, the key word is peace talk, right? Key word is peace. And to start talking, we should understand what the demands are of both sides, right? Our demand was only one: ceasefire, stop killing people, stop killing civilians, stop bombing the cities. And well, his demands was like a lot, and it was
a lot. Like what? Does he want like your eastern part of the country, for example, or what?
No, actually, his demands changed eventually. Following the victories of our army, following the liberation of some occupied territories, they are just decreased, shrinked sometimes. But the demands, the primary demands were just, you know, Ukraine should not be on the map of this world. We should surrender, demilitarize, change the government, and put someone who will be welcomed by Russia. That's it.
So how do you see it? I mean, how do you see, is this going to be like a long-term ceasefire, or is it what's going to happen, or is it a durable end of war?
I don't expect any human actions from the Russian government. So I don't think they stop. I don't think they will stop. However, they can. I mean, it's just like simple. Say stop fighting.
All right.
Ceasefire.
Well, Ukraine is getting a lot of aid as well, a lot of, you know, not only weapons, but a lot of things from the Western countries, from the US and all. And that will make the war even, you know, longer and longer. Don't you think so?
No, I don't think so.
And
no,
what about the civilians of Ukraine, in Ukraine? Aren't they going to be like the victims of this war?
Now, talking about the weapons and the ammunition we can receive from the Western partners, it will bring the war to the end very soon. The sooner the better. The better weapons we have, the sooner we receive them, the sooner the war will be ended. Very simple, because Russia is running out of resources, meaning the army, the personnel, the people, basically, they just destroyed more than, I don't know, maybe 50% of the Russian army. And the ammunition, the tanks, the everything, like helicopters and all that. So they're running out of that, and they're not capable of producing anymore. And Ukrainians, the main principle is to preserve the army, preserve the people. To avoid casualties among the army and civilians, right? So we still preserve a good army, in good mood, highly motivated and well equipped. So this is 21st century, right? If you just remember the Second World War, 1943, for example, this famous tank battle, Kursk, under Kursk, right? The German army lost 70 tanks, and that was a great victory over Nazi Germany, right? Now, in last 2 or 3 days, they just lost 73 tanks in one place.
Right.
So
that's the help or aid from many Western countries towards Ukraine. But I'm going to ask you about sanctions on Russia slapped by the EU, especially the most recent one being the ban of oil import for EU members. Although this is still not agreed by all EU members, though. Does this kind of sanctions enough to stop the war?
About the sanctions, it's very easy to understand why it is so necessary, because every dollar they receive, they can use it to fight. They can use it for the war, for the purpose of war. So the less they receive, the sooner the war will be over, because they will run out of resources totally. So, of course, any sort of sanctions or limitations are very important for peace, for the sake of peace. I mean, limiting the access of Russian vessels to the ports, to the seaports, limiting the ability of Russia to export anything, including oil and gas and everything they want, limiting the ability of Russia to import high-tech components for the missiles and for the tanks and for that. This will bring the end to this war very soon, if it is approved and everybody agreed.
Right. So His Excellency...
So it's not about pressing oppressing Russia or making Russia, look ugly and something like. It's not about destroying Russia, right?
It's about the money.
It's about the war. It's about putting the end to this war. So.
Yeah.
All right. So we in Indonesia, we can only see from the news what's happening in Ukraine. This war so far, entering the 83rd day. So what are the updates that people here, probably in Indonesia, do not know about the current situation that is happening in your country?
I think that, well, I repeat, we live in the 21st century, so people who want to know, they just open the YouTube, open any resources, including our embassy websites, it's all there. It's, we are reporting very regularly about what's going on. And about the military operation of Ukrainian army, of course we don't know much because it's classified, sure, just not to disclose to anyone. And I support this, but basically we know the results. And now I think what Indonesian people deserve to know is that, I would like to say that this is not just a war of Russia against Ukraine. I would like to say that this is the attack of colonialism and fascism on democracy and humanity. This is the very important notion to understand.
Yeah, well, we listen a lot about your president. I mean, he appears almost on a daily basis on the media, but probably there are misinformation, as you also, probably happening in this world, and we don't know the actual information.
There are many hoaxes, misinformation, disinformation as well.
Yeah, so where can we get, the true information? If you have any suggestion for us.
Yeah, honestly, it's, I would say that what President delivers every day, twice a day, right? He makes speeches and all that. What our Minister of Foreign Affairs, while speaking to the colleagues of European Parliament or anywhere, what they say is true. But it's not all, because something we just cannot disclose, like our plans, where do we attack, where do we move, what are our plans. But trust me, the army commanders of Ukraine are doing and diplomats are doing all possible and impossible to end this war as soon as possible. This is our pain, it's my country bleeding and burning. So it's our task and goal to end the war as soon as possible. However, we cannot satisfy some wishes of dictator Putin, right? For example, we don't trade by land. We don't trade by our sovereign territories, right? We don't trade by our people. We don't trade by our independence. This is important. So if the demands are these, no.
Okay. So you mentioned that the number of casualties now has reached tens of thousands of people. That's according to your statements. But regarding the city that has been devastated, can you mention the most devastated cities in your country, and how's the evacuation effort right now?
The most devastated city is Mariupol, first of all, because it's a big city. It's like 500,000 citizens. It's huge. And it's like devastated, 99%. The town of Volnovakha is like a couple of 100,000 people, but it's destroyed to the ground. And Kharkiv, very badly damaged. Like Sumy, like small towns around Kiev, you know about, like Borodyanka, like Bucha, like Irpin. All these small towns, which are like 15 minutes drive from my mother's place, from my mother's house. So I passed it like hundreds of times. So destroyed to the ground. And how about evacuation? Well, there are two problems on that. The main problem is that Russians try to prevent Ukrainian citizen evacuation from the cities under attack. You remember this cruel missile attack in Kramatorsk, when people were trying to get on the train and get away from the city, and then the missile Rudal just hit on the center of the square. 53 or something, more than 50 people died, killed, including children and all that. So that's what they're trying to do, to prevent them evacuating.
Is it right that your children are also among, evacuating those cities?
Two of my three children, yes. My whole family tried to escape from, because we live in the small town like Bucha, but on the opposite side of Kyiv, of the capital city. So they moved somewhere to the western Ukraine, and they spent 2 weeks or 3 weeks.
So they're still in the country.
Yeah, they just running from, because it's like all women. Older.
Would that be possible to bring your family to Indonesia right now?
Not possible, because we have a lot of elders. We have like my mother, and 73 years old, my wife's grandmother, 83.
But in that specific area that your family is now, it's okay, it's safe?
Nowhere is safe in Ukraine, but still this area wasn't hit directly by missiles. That's what I can say. But there are some terrorist groups and then minings and shootings and all that. So yeah, it's not safe. But two of my teenager kids are now in Jakarta, and yes, I'm really grateful to the Indonesian embassy in in Ukraine and in Poland who supported us and helped a lot to make them come to me.
So your family is safe and sound right now, all of the members?
Well, they were not injured, yes, but not safe. Still not
All
safe.
right. Well, you got a lot of aid, as we mentioned as well before. I mean, the American weapons and trainings, aids, a lot of aids are coming in, billions of US dollars. Is that enough for the country to defend your land, or do you still need assistance, more assistance?
What we have received till now is not enough. But what is planned to be delivered to Ukraine, I think it will be enough. So it's a matter of time. It's not a matter of quantity. Right? So according to Lend-Lease, according to the other aids, military aids provided by the partners, it will be, I think it will be quite a sufficient number of defensive weapons and even some. Yeah.
And looking ahead, perhaps, definitely is economic damage and all that. What about the EU and also NATO of Ukraine entering both of those agencies? Do you think that's going to be very necessary for the future of Ukraine?
I think
and
yes.
what if not?
I think, well, I'm not a prophet, I don't know what if not, but we can accept all the scenarios. The ideal one is, yes, we are going to be the member of the European family. We belong to the European family. It's natural, right? So if we can become the member of the EU, it will be natural and good. And we can provide a lot to the European family for energy security, hydrogen and all this green energy. We can provide food security, not only to Europe, but to the half of the world, basically.
That's true.
We can provide IT transformation, like digitalization of European countries, some of them, because we are really doing well in this. And defense, it's very important, because now Ukrainian army is one of the best in the world.
Right. I'd like to dig deeper into the, security state of your family members. That it's quite ironic, though, to see that you're alive here and on a daily basis you feel worried about your family's safety there. Would that be possible to bring them in Indonesia at this point of time? You said that that's almost impossible because there are many elderly, but how are the situations right now, and how you make sure that they are in a safe place? The fact that the bombardment happens almost everywhere.
I cannot do anything about this, so I'm just calling them every day and trying to make sure they are alive and not damaged. That's it. Because yes, there are some places under very close attack now, under bombings, like Odessa, Lviv, and all that. That's in the western part and the southern part. But this small town they live in is more or less not in the focus of Russian.
Do they live in a bunker, or how do they protect themselves there?
No, they just live in a normal multi-story.
Business as usual. As usual. Do your kids still go to school, or is it like online school, perhaps just like what we do in Indonesia? How?
My teenagers go to online school, but my elder daughter is working in the hospital now. She's the 4 years study student of medical institute, so she's working for the hospital in Kiev. My second daughter is just finished school, so she's last year finished, so accomplished. She's going to go to the university next year. And my son is 16 years old. He's still studying online, yes.
Right. So you mentioned that you've got 3 children, and they are now, all of them, in Indonesia right now, right?
No, just 2 small. Just 2 younger. Yeah.
2 younger. So how did they travel to Indonesia? Can you explain the process of?
Oh, this was a story. They traveled to Lviv. From Lviv, they were taken across the border to Warsaw, and then both the Indonesian embassy in Warsaw and Ukrainian ambassador took care of them, because they never traveled alone. So they bought tickets, got visas, and came here through it's Emirates, Fly Emirates, I think.
So they traveled alone.
Yeah.
Wow, that's quite brave.
That's quite brave, though. So about the eldest kid, how do you maintain communication with him?
With her.
With her, sorry.
Daughter, we just call WhatsApp or Telegram, something.
Technology aided. All right, so I'm interested in knowing what's the situation for the agriculture harvested crops. They're all stuck in your country because the ports, the Black Sea ports, the Odessa port are not operating right now. So what are you going to do with that? And how are you going to make sure that, the world famine, they say the world famine might happen if this war will not be ended soon, especially in the, African countries, Middle Eastern countries are also relying a lot on the wheats or the calories that are, supplied by your country.
Yeah. I think we still have like 20 million tons of grains stuck in Ukraine. Not possible no way to leave through the ports, because ports are mined and blocked by Russian army, by Russian Navy. It's like around 90 plus vessels still in port for three months, not able to leave. And the worst thing is that Russians are also stealing the grains from Ukrainian, from the warehouses. Up to date, it's like already like 500,000 tons has been stolen and through Crimean ports delivered to Russia somewhere, and maybe they'll try to sell them on the world markets, but this will be a crime, another crime. And what can we do with this? We are doing a lot of preparatory work, and we were promised by our partners to arrange this logistic, to rebuild the logistic chains, not through Odessa, maybe through other ports, maybe through other regions. So we're working on this.
Okay, I'd like to ask about the G20 presidency held by Indonesia, though. So President Joko Widodo has stated that he would invite Vladimir Putin and your president as well to G20 meeting in Bali in November. What is your expectation towards this meeting? And would this meeting create a fruitful result to end the conflict?
Actually, Sudah invited already. I think 2 weeks ago were telephone calls between our presidents. So he invited our president to Pak Jokowi invited President Zelensky to attend, and that's what I know. That's what you know, right? So as for the summit, it is still like in 6 months.
Yeah, in November.
So Ukraine now is
too long to wait.
Ukraine now is counting days. It's,
right.
So for us, it's a matter of days and maybe hours, maybe weeks, right? Which really matters, which is so complicated and dangerous. So I would suggest we come back to this issue like in September maybe, because
Would Indonesia be able to mediate the conflict between the two
Although
countries?
still a long way to go.
I think that
if we can make it maybe earlier, would Indonesia be able to mediate as a mediator?
I think that any country can mediate. It's political will, nothing, nor less, no more. So, and I think that any big country, any influential country, like global leaders, like regional leaders, can do a lot to protect peace and stability. So it's, yes, of course, any country can do a lot in restoring peace in Ukraine and basically in the world.
Yeah,
I think this is a final fight of real colonialism and democracy. After this, I don't think it will ever be repeated.
All right. Now let's take the discussion to the bilateral relationship between Ukraine and Indonesia. I've learned that we have this relationship for 30 years.
Yes.
And you brought some of a calendar of a poster that I saw you carrying it inside the studio. Maybe you can show us that poster. So you know some of our poets and also some of our
authors,
prominent figures, authors as well. What do you have on your poster right now?
Yeah, actually, this is a little story about this. Before I even came to Indonesia, we worked for like a few months to create a gallery of, we call it like heroic Indonesia in faces. So we created a series of posters and calendars related to the sastra, to sejarah, no.
Sejarah, history.
Yes, to the heroic part, to pahlawan and poets and prominent people of Indonesia. So it's quite a lot actually, but unfortunately now I still just trying to get the original metrics of this to print them here, because I'm run out of basically of everything. And this one is one of my favorite.
How can we read that?
Can I read this?
I know that the
can you hold that? Our camera would like to capture this.
Yes, please.
If you don't mind, I'll help you out.
Okay. What is this? What is this?
This Hairilan War.
Hairilan
In Ukrainian, yes, it's translated into Ukrainian, and if you try to
QR code, scan that.
To read scan that, it will be me reciting the poem.
Oh, wow.
you.
So it's Karawang
surprise.
Bekasi.
Karawang Bekasi.
This is a very important and influential poem as well. Karawang Bekasi from Khairil Anwar. And now it's translated into?
Into Ukrainian.
Ukrainian.
Yes,
wow.
by my good friend and teacher. And you know, this poem, this particular poem was translated like a year ago. And when it was shown to our defenders who were fighting in the east of Ukraine, in Donbass, the guys who, like, you know, they see death every day, and they cried, and they say, oh my God, this is when it was written, say like 70 years ago.
Right.
So really, I mean, as if it was written yesterday.
Yes,
Kami
it's so
mati
relevant.
muda, and it's like, remember us.
Right, right.
So other than Khairil Anwar, who else do you have?
We have many.
features?
Of course, General Sudirman, of course, Ratu Joyoboyo, of course,
Ratu Joyoboyo. That translation was done before the war, right?
Yes.
So what was the purpose of it?
The purpose is because I was preparing to come here for work, and it's very important for me. Whom do you respect? Whom do you? What is about Indonesian culture and history? Because I never ever had any relationship with this, and I really wanted to know, you know, the heroes of this country. And while doing this, I found out we have a lot in common.
Yeah. Okay. Well, before we end this discussion, can you say something in Indonesian?
Apa?
Anything.
Up to anything. Maybe about the relationship between Indonesia and Ukraine, and what do you expect in the future in bahasa Indonesia?
Anything simple. To you, camera one.
Saya masih belajar, belum bisa berbicara dengan lancar.
Any hope?
Any hope? Saya berharap. Saya berharap perang ini selesai as soon as possible. I don't know.
Secepatnya.
Secepatnya.
Sorry,
it's all right. That's very
flawless.
good.
It's flawless.
So, Pak Duta Besar
saya bisa mengerti.
Vasyl Hamianin, terima kasih banyak atas waktunya. Thank you very much for your time.
Thank you so much.
Matur nuwun.
Matur nuwun sangat.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you so much, His Excellency.